Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe and Sleeping Queen Callie, and today I'm going to show you general stretches and exercises for the knee. This is the fourth video in my 10-day whole body wellness challenge. Don't know about it? Make sure and stay till the end and I'll talk about it a little bit more. So let's get started.
Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert.
So before we get started with the knee routine, you need a couple pieces of equipment. So you need either a stretch strap or a belt or a dog leash, something solid though so you can get a stretch, not those resistive bands. Then you also need either a ball, a folded up pillow, or a yoga block to squeeze into. And then also either just a little roll or a rolled up towel to push your knee into. So you're going to need those. So if you need to press the pause button real quick and grab those, go grab those. And then we're just going to get started with the warm up, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more while we're warming up. So the warm up's going to start off with a 2-minute warm up, and we're just going to start off with maybe some kicking out. Either these are called knee extensions or long arc quads, and this warm up is really nothing to get the strengthening, just getting some movement to warm up the muscles. So as we go through the stretches and exercises, it's going to be for time. It's going to be for 30-second time, not for reps, because you can do as many as you can. Let's just do some going up into some hip flexion now. Through the 30 seconds. So we're not going to worry about reps. You go at your own pace. If you can only do 2 or 3 throughout the 30 seconds, that's fine. If you can do more, that's fine as well. And so now we're just going to kind of roll out the knees a little bit to get it warmed up. And so through each exercise, we'll take a little short break. And then through each group of exercises, we'll take a longer break to get set up for the other things. So that's kind of how that routine is going to go. So for the knee, a lot of the knee muscles go up into the hip, go down into the calf or leg area. So everything's kind of connected. So you might have seen some of these if you've done some of the earlier routines, but it's really for the knees, the hips, and the ankle area, because again, it's all connected. Those muscles go up and down. So it's nice to kind of get that whole body workout, even though we're focusing on the knees today. And we'll go back to the kick outs a little bit. Oop, getting a little bit of pop in there. I don't know if you can hear those knees popping. That's just my kneecap. Getting a little bit used to the tracking there, so you can see that it's good that I'm getting this warm up here. And so we're going to start off with some isometric exercises. That's where we're activating those muscles, but we're not really making the movements that if you have an injury or some tightness or something, it will hurt if you make the big movements. So the isometric exercises are a great way to start, especially in the beginning stages. So to start off with, we're going to do quad sets. So grab your either rolled up towel or your little foam roll, and if you've got somewhere where you can put your legs all the way out, either on the floor or the couch or the bed, just place it underneath your knee. And this is really just going to be for a target. Keep that heel down and then push that knee into the roll. Maybe just 30 to 40% of as hard as you feel like you can push. 3 to 5 seconds and then relax. Try and keep that heel down. So it's not lifting that up. That's a different exercise, and it's not an isometric exercise. Keep the heel down, and you're just pushing down like you're trying to straighten out that leg. You're activating that quad muscle right there. And again, just starting off with that 30 to 40%, don't push as hard as you can the first couple times because it might be more sore than you think it is. So we're going to take a little break. Often I'll switch back and forth, but while we're doing these, I'm going to do both on one side and then we'll switch. So again, that nice squeeze right there, activating that muscle, holding it 3 to 5 seconds. You can work your way up to more times on the hold if you want to, and then relax and do that again. If you want to, if you've done this routine a time or two, or if you just want to follow along without me, play some music, press the mute button, and you can follow along because I'm going to kind of be explaining things throughout the whole time because I want to show you modifications and different ways to do it and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So now I'm just going to switch it over to the other side. I'm going to try and kind of get this one out of the way so you can see it a little bit. And so it's bent up, heel is down, and then I'm just pushing down into it. So sometimes people ask me, can you do them both at the same time? You can if you have a bigger roll, or if you want to roll up 2 towels and put one underneath, you can. But I find doing them individually, if you have the time, is better, because maybe one's a little bit weaker than the other. Maybe you want to push harder with the other one because it's ready for it when the other one's not. And sometimes if you're pushing both at the same time, you're going to be pushing both of them hard at the same time. So one might just be further along than the other. So I like doing them individually, but you don't have to. If you're crunched for time but you still want to do stuff, you can certainly do them both at the same time, but it might be a little bit tougher to do. You can also lie all the way down and do these. You don't have to sit up in the long sit like I am. Sometimes this might be a little tiring for the hip area for people, especially with the knee kind of being connected to the hip. So if this, what we call long sitting, is a little bit uncomfortable, go ahead and lie all the way down. This is just easier for me to talk to you this way, and so that's why I'm kind of sitting up while I'm doing it. So then the next one is going to be hamstring set. And so now we're working those hamstrings underneath there. Same kind of concept where you're activating the muscle, but you're not making the movement. So the hamstrings do this motion, bringing that leg in. So what we're going to do is the bed or couch is going to be stopping us, and we're pushing that heel kind of down and in. So ideally I'm doing this movement, but that's stopping me from doing it. So it's not just pushing down, but it's pushing down and inwards. And so again, that 3 to 5 second hold, I should be able to feel it in those hamstrings there. If I'm actually touching those hamstring tendons, when I push down, I should feel those tighten up. These are these cords. They're very thick tendons, and you can feel them activating when you're pushing in. So make sure you're relaxing them back out. Sometimes with hamstrings, people tend to cramp very easily. So I would say start off super light with these, maybe even a 20 to 30% pulling down, down and in, and relaxing, because again, they might try and cramp up on you. And once again, definitely lie down if that's more comfortable for you. This is just easier for me to talk to you sitting up. But if you want to lie all the way down, if that's more comfortable on your back and your hip area, make sure that you're getting in that comfortable position doing these movements. And you can see how I'm kind of pulling up my toes a little bit too. That's okay to do that. That's going to activate the calf muscles a little bit. They come and cross the other way. The hamstrings come down and cross the knees this way. The calves come up that way. We're going to do the other side. So I sometimes pull up my toes. That helps me kind of dig in, but you don't have to. I can't really. You can see my toes trying to curl the other way when I'm doing it. So I kind of pull up a little bit as I'm pushing down and in. So your calf muscles are going to activate a little bit, but it's just then kind of a double workout while you're doing it. And so again, those hamstrings cross that knee joint. So that's why it's important to exercise, strengthen them, and stretch them out, getting them all worked out. And then you can relax down a little bit. Make sure you're taking that short break in between to let those muscles reset after you work them. And then come back up, pushing down and in, feeling for those tendons and muscles activating. If you're having a hard time figuring out that exact movement, because as soon as I push down and in, I can feel my hamstrings activating in there. And again, that 3 to 5 second. If you want to do some nice deep breathing while you're doing these, you definitely can. So the next one, you can do this one lying down. I'm going to do it seated just because you're not really going to see much while we're doing it. So I'm just going to sit so I can kind of talk to you while I'm doing it. And it's going to be a glute set. So those big booty muscles, we're going to be squeezing those booty muscles to do a glute set. So sometimes lying on your tummy is a little bit easier to do it. But all you're doing is squeezing in like you have to go to the bathroom when you're trying to hold it in. That's kind of all you're doing. You're activating those muscles and then relaxing. If you're watching close enough, when I squeeze in, I rise up just a little bit, and that means I'm squeezing those muscles and activating. They're getting firmer in there and kind of lifting me up just a little bit. But again, not 100%, just enough where you're activating these muscles. It might not seem like a lot, but a lot of times if you have some tightness, some other things going on, those glute muscles, those big glute muscles, even though they're not connected to the knee, have a lot to do with the knee. So again, squeezing in. You see it kind of lifting up a little bit. Have to go to the bathroom trying to hold it in, kind of relax. Again, not as much as you can, but just starting off with a little bit because it's doing a lot more work than you think it is. And again, if this is a little bit harder to do seated, you can lie on your tummy or on your side and do that squeeze, and then you have something pushing back against it. So it makes it just a little bit easier usually if you're lying down. But again, this makes you work just a little bit more. So the next one, you're going to need your strap. And so you're just going to kind of wrap it around your legs, right above your knees, around your thigh area. So now we're going to be doing hip abduction isometrics. And so the motion is going to be going out like this, but you're using the strap so you're not going anywhere. So I'm pushing outwards with both of these into that belt. So now we're working those outside muscles, those abductor muscles. So again, just starting off that 30 to 40%, 3 to 5 seconds at a time. Sometimes people ask where, do your feet need to be all the way together? Do they need to be far apart? I like putting them together so I can roll my legs out. But again, do whatever's most comfortable for you. If there's a little more comfortable out, somebody's texting me, then you can do it that way, but bring it in if you need to, and then pushing out into the belt, getting that nice squeeze, holding it that 3 to 5 seconds, and then coming back in. So again, if I loosen it up, that's the motion I'm doing, but then the belt is actually stopping me from doing that. And I can feel that all the way through that outer portion of the leg there. And then so the next one is going to be, as you can imagine, squeezing in for the adductors, and that's going to be using the ball or a yoga block or even a folded up pillow if you don't have anything else, and just putting it in between. So this time we're squeezing inwards, so almost like you're trying to connect those knees together, kind of pushing in. And same thing, doing that 3 to 5 second hold, just 30 to 40%. Sometimes with this inward one, using those adductor muscles that go up into the groin area, sometimes you might get a little pop with these. Sometimes that's more in the SI joint in the back, that sacroiliac joint. That's okay. Sometimes that's just kind of adjusting stuff in there or just kind of moving that fluid through the joint. So as long as it's not painful, that's okay. But sometimes this one is going to feel a little more uncomfortable than the other one. So you might want to start off with even less of a push until you get comfortable with it. I also, with the ball that I use, deflate it just a little bit so I have a little bit more squish into it. Usually that just makes it more comfortable. That also helps so the ball doesn't go flying away if you squeeze really hard, and especially if you have pants on or something like these soft ones, sometimes the ball wants to scooch away. So sometimes if you just take a little bit of air out of it, it actually holds a little bit better and it allows you to get just a little bit better squeeze in there. But again, a pillow folded up works just as well. So then the next one is going to be a hip flexor stretch. And so if you're on a chair or your couch or the edge of your bed, the side you're going to stretch is going down. And so this is great for people that have some pain in their knee and can't get in that lunge position. So I'm just going to slide my leg a little bit back. You can see my knee is up. And then I'm going to tuck my tailbone into that pelvic tilt, and I feel a huge hip flexor stretch right there. And so the key is getting that tuck. Again, almost like you're trying that tailbone, you're just trying to tuck it in or doing a posterior pelvic tilt while you get the stretch. Lean forward just a little bit. I know maybe in my past videos, I say, stay upright and not lean back or forward. But sometimes if you lean a little bit forward with that tuck, you're going to get a little bit better stretch as well. This is the full 30-second stretch. So now that we're stretching, you're holding that stretch for 30 seconds. You're not stopping and doing a little bit at a time. This is a full stretch in here. And so again, I can feel especially when I tuck it in, and if I place my hands right here, because those hip flexors go all the way up and attach to your spine. If you get that curl in there or that tilt, you're going to get that extra stretch. I am feeling this a lot, but I'm feeling no pressure on my knee because I'm not pushing it down onto the floor. So just switching again, and then kind of sliding that back. This one's a little bit tighter, so I might not be able to slide back quite as far. And then just tucking in right here. So again, this is a great modification. The lunge stretch, where you're actually in the lunge position on the floor, is sometimes a lot of pressure on your knee, even if you have something underneath. So this is kind of a great way to get that pressure off the knee and still get that nice hip flexor stretch. So you can see, again, I'm just feeling it right there on this side, because you might be able to see this side is a lot tighter than the other side. So I probably need to do these just a little bit more. But again, stretching should be that good hurt so good. It shouldn't be painful. So you're just going until you go, oh yeah, I can feel it. I can tell it's doing something. But it should be comfortable enough where you can hold it for that 30 seconds without going, oh my gosh, this is just too much. If you're really trying to force it or bounce it, some people want to bounce when they stretch, that's not really going to get a good stretch. Do some nice deep breathing with it to help those muscles relax and be able to push through that exercise or that stretch. So then the next ones are going to be standing up. And so ideally when you're doing these starting off, get something to hold on to. A nice sturdy chair, the back of your couch, the side of your bed, wherever you are. But make sure you're holding on to something to start off with, because you want to focus on the movement, and then you can work on balance as well. So this is just going to be a hamstring curl. I'm just curling back, doing a nice, slow, and controlled motion. The key to this is keep the upper part of your leg, thigh, facing downward. So it's not this. This isn't actually getting that exercise we want. You're kicking back. And when I keep this down, I really feel a stretch in the front, and I'm working those hamstrings in the back. I'm going to alternate with these just to give each side a break. When you're standing on the leg, it gets a little bit tiring. As you can tell, I'm probably breathing heavier now. But if you don't want to alternate and you just want to do them both on one side, you can. But again, keeping that thigh either straight down or slightly back. A lot of times people want to tend to do this because they're tight in those hip flexor muscles. But really kicking backwards, getting that nice kick. And again, if you need to hold on to something, that's fine. Make sure you get that technique down first. Take some nice deep breath. And then go back into it. Exercise 7. Sometimes when you're breathing through an exercise, when you're lifting, be breathing out and breathe in when you come back down. But again, I'm not leaning forward. I'm keeping everything nice and upright. It's because a lot of times that's what people either want to lean forward when they kick, or they want to bring their leg forward when they kick. But try and keep this all in alignment. And that nice kick back there. And you might feel that stretch in the front. That's why you want to keep that knee pointed straight downwards, because that's going to help stretch the thigh area and those hip flexors as well, and then working those hamstrings. So then the next one is just going to be a standing march, just like it sounds, except again, go at your own pace. You don't have to go fast. You want it to be a controlled motion. You can go faster if you want to, but if you're just using momentum, that's not going to get the muscles working like they're supposed to. So start off slow, just bringing your knees up into a march. Again, if you need to hold on, that's fine. If you feel like you're a little bit more advanced and you can do the balance portion, that's just going to make you work your muscles a little bit more as well. But see, I'm not going fast. I'm going at a slow, controlled pace. But again, if you haven't been doing stuff and you're really starting a program, go a little bit slower, go at your own pace. If you need to stop in between each one, that's okay, you can do that. I'm going to turn a little bit just so you can see each side, but again, I can go slower, I can stop in between each one and kind of reset myself and come up and stop if I need to. Or if I feel a little bit more balanced, I can just alternate back and forth. But you shouldn't be wobbling all over the place while you're doing it. So if you feel unbalanced, make sure you're holding it onto it because you want it to be a quality movement. You don't want it to be a quantity movement. So it's definitely more about just getting that movement, getting it in a controlled way. So even if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can hold it for a second or two. And then you're doing a little bit of a balance with the other leg. You're bringing this one up for the motion, and then you're balancing on the other side. So you're really kind of getting a double workout with this as you do it. So your heart rate might not go up as much, but you're challenging those stabilizer, smaller muscles a little bit more. And so you're challenging those muscles in a different way. So you can always change things up a little bit just to make it a slightly different exercise. So you're not doing the same thing every time. And then again, if you just want to kind of pick up the speed a little bit, still try and get that nice bend. If you have some tight knees, you might only be able to come to here, but try not to compensate with your hip. You know, it's not just about getting it up. It's about getting that nice bend in the knee. So if you can only come to here, I'd rather you do that than trying, to hike yourself up just to get the knee higher. So the next one is going to be hip flexion extension. But remember, like we talked about in the beginning, these hip muscles, almost all of them are connected to the knee muscles. So it's really important to kind of work everything because everything works together. So keeping the legs straight, pull your toes up and just do a little kick to the front, little kick to the back, keeping that knee locked out the whole time, getting that nice front to back kick. And you can see if my balance is off a little bit, stop, reset, start again. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It can be a little bit smaller if you're still trying to get your balance, or if you're holding on and you want to go a little bit bigger, you can do that as well. You again might want to make sure you're holding on, because then when people aren't holding on, they tend to want to lean back. So they're kicking and going forward like this, but then I'm not really working those hip and knee muscles. You want your upper body to stay nice and straight in alignment, and make sure that you're getting that movement with the legs straight. So it's not this. I'll have people do this a lot. Try and keep that knee locked out and kick front to back in that nice, smooth motion. If you have to stop in between, take a little break, that's fine, no big deal. Just, again, go at your own pace. So if I'm going and I need to go front, back, stop, reset, front, back, I can do that. Or even if I need to take a break in between both of those, little kick to the front, stop, little kick to the back. That's okay. Or, I'm going to try for 2 in a row and then take a break, and maybe next time try for 3 in a row and take a break. So again, you can challenge yourself and go at your own pace, and make sure you're not trying to do so many that you're just, really kind of overdoing yourself. Make sure you're in a comfortable position, make sure you're in the correct position. And if you need to take a break because you're fatiguing and you're not getting that correct form anymore, then stop, reset everything. If you need to then hold on to something again, then that's fine. Getting that nice, smooth movement, kicking back and forth. So now we're going to do mini squats. So mini squats are just how they sound. We're not going all the way down. We're not sitting all the way down in a chair. We're not bending our knees to the 90 degrees. We're only going about 20 to 30 degrees, but the technique is the same. Feet about shoulder width apart, sticking your booty back when you go into the squat. So just to about right there and coming back. But see, I'm more sticking my bottom back. I'm not bringing my knees forward in front of my toes, because then that's just gonna be really uncomfortable. You're putting all your pressure on your knees. Really almost like a hinge. I'm hinging at my hips. I'm bending a little bit at my knees, and I'm bringing my chest slightly forward when I bend down. I'm equalizing my weight. If my weight and my booty goes back, the weight in my chest goes forward, and then I stay balanced. If I'm just trying to keep everything back here, I'm gonna go backwards. If I bring my knees and my chest forward, then I'm gonna go forward. You wanna keep everything nice and equal. You want the weight on your feet equal too. You don't want it all in your heels, and you don't want it all in your toes. So if you feel like you don't have equal weight shift everywhere, or even on your left or your right, reset yourself, maybe even do a little bit less. Just unlock your joints and not even going down that far. I'm just unlocking my hips and my knees and getting a little bend. Once you then master that and you feel like everything is equal, then you can go down just a little bit more. And there you have it. So there you have it. Those are my general stretches and exercises for the knee. This was video number 4 in my 10-day whole body wellness challenge. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure and click about it in the description below to find out more. And if you want to check out tomorrow, come on back, click on the playlist over there. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.